So we just got out of the might be contender for movie hell. I don't know. We'll see. 2016, because now we have to use that title, Ghostbusters. We have everyone? Keels, you got the IMDb?
Yeah.
All right.
Tell him what.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right.
Spit it out.
Kristen Wiig is Erin Gilbert. Melissa McCarthy is Abby Yates. Kate McKinnon is Gillian Holtzman. Leslie Jones is Patty Tolan. And Chris Hemsworth is Kevin.
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 Yeah.
And that's all you really need to
And the
know.
villain Ronan. That's
Oh, he was the dude.
who
Neil
oddly
Casey.
sounds like a Marvel villain that I think I know of.
Neil
but
Casey.
Just saying. Neil Casey. All right, so the movie itself, I'll just get into the history. It was originally supposed to be Ghostbusters 3, and it was promoted as like a continuation, but then they decided, like Sony was like, hey, let's just reboot it completely. Bad marketing choice, but it's okay. And now we have a remake of the 1984 original classic, Ghostbusters. Bringing three scientists and one friend together to Patty to stop Ronan. Like, honestly, that's the plot right there.
Basically.
That's it. Like,
They're just building the characters and, I guess, getting their ghost business started.
yeah, and there are little throwbacks to the original. Like, I like how
There's a lot.
they try and get the first tower, and, it's there. And they show it, oh, we can't afford it, let's go to the Chinese restaurant. And then at the end they get it. I'm like, all right. When they do play the original theme, I love it. I was like getting my seat like, okay, it's still a kick-ass theme.
Because that's the classic theme song. Of
Yeah.
course.
And
Of course
then
they had to play that.
And then they have the cameos that are just like there. I mean, again, I understand like, like
You can tell which one's forced and which one.
exactly, like it's just like you can clearly tell. Let's try and fit this cameo in this spot. Like,
They just want to nod to the original
yeah,
movie.
Dan Aykroyd's cameo. I was just sitting there like, really?
Well, you know what it is? It's that, like, I get it. Like, they'll probably blackmail him into doing it. But they just did it to get it done with. Like, Dan Aykroyd could have been more, like, into that cameo, but he just kind of was, like, spitting out lines. Same thing with Bill Murray. Bill Murray, the TV spot of him looks so last minute, and then to actually see him sitting there and playing with everybody, like, you could tell how much he didn't care because the little details is when you see him talking to them, he's very animated in his movements. But when you get every shot from over his shoulder, he's stiff. Meaning, like, he's just sitting there like, can I get this over with? Can I get this over with? Like, there was no life to his character.
No, I agree.
I mean, the best cameo was Harold Ramis, really.
Oh, the bus. Yeah, I think I like Ernie Hudson's cameo. His was pretty good. Really?
I like Sigourney.
It still felt forced.
I
It's
feel like they were all forced.
like there was no like actual like character depth to it. I mean, obviously it's a cameo, you can't put a lot into that, but like even Sigourney Weaver just like
Was
that's
there.
not her. And I don't know if it's so much associating them with the original, but even in the original, like to be possessed like she was and do all that, everything she's done in her career, like this seemed like she was just like, all right, let's get it over with. Right, that wasn't her. That was like none of these actors that did cameos showed their actual true talent as actors.
No, I agree, and I think I'll be brief. Like the greatest example is take The Force Awakens for example. While it is a reboot, it is no, but I'm serious. Like either way you look at it, it's a continuation, but it's introducing it to a new generation. But every time that you see like Han Solo or Princess Leia or even Luke, briefly 1 minute he's in the movie, you still get that vibe like, oh my gosh, this is the character that I used to like or grew up with. In this one, they're playing different characters, and at that point, why don't you just continue the series? I understand that they want to do their own thing, but it felt like more of a slap to the face that...
It's stubbornness. It's Paul Feig not wanting to just take the torch from somebody else.
Yeah, who was the original director who... Because they were going...
Ivan
Reitman, that's his name.
And then from what I've heard is that Sony pushed him out and said that they wanted
I heard
basically just to do their own thing.
He had a credit in the credits too. Also.
Producer.
Yeah, producer credit. But you can also blame it because they did the Ghostbusters game, which is basically the third movie. It really was.
Because at that point they never thought a third
was
movie
gonna happen.
So if they never would have did the game, you would have had the Ghostbusters 3 that you wanted.
No.
You really would have,
If
because
you-
that's what the game was. It was Ghostbusters 3.
Bill Murray got
Essentially.
his wish. That's all I like.
Yeah, that's why.
He wanted to
Yeah.
be killed off, and they killed him off.
Yeah. There was actually talks, like the original, it was Ghostbusters 3 Hellbound, which was, I think, when was that released? In 2000? Like the script that Dan Aykroyd worked on? And he said that we're going to do it, like, they had a script, like, with or without Bill Murray, where he dies. And he wanted to play a ghost. And I'm like, all right, I get it. Like, we know you don't like doing the Ghostbusters films, but still, like, it's whatever. You don't have to make it like a lazy attempt, and it just felt cheap. That's what this movie is.
The only good thing about this movie, I think, other than like this, like we were saying, this is this generation's Ghostbusters, is that besides any callbacks to the original, that was like, you know, as a fan of the original, you like it, like the guy in the background and the camera shot looking around. That was a nod to the first movie. The actual equipment is what you wish we would have gotten from the original Ghostbusters. To see these upgrades, to see these cooler gadgets and everything like that, that was cool to see.
I said that too.
That was enjoyable, but you know, at the same time, you think about it like how back in the '80s you made a ghost trap that was so small, and now you have this giant version of it. And like, if you're gonna go and make equipment, you don't have to rip everything off. Like the PKA meter was too close to the original, but then like kind of came off like a cheap toy, the way the top was spinning. Like
Yeah,
it was kind of cheesy.
yeah.
Like everything about this is a modernization that is not what I like about it. Like.
Again, it could have been a continuation.
It could have, and I mean, seeing like an updated version of the original Proton Pack, more streamlined, you know, add-ons like they did with the video game, like that would have been cool. That would have been like, all right, where did the Ghostbusters progress in 30 years as a company, where instead of just saying, oh, let's just do it all over from scratch. Because the problem with reboots like this is that while you're trying to do something fresh, while you're trying to update it, make it hit, modernize and everything like that, you're still taking the groundwork from something else. You know, you're only so original when you do this. So, like, how many times did you sit there throughout the movie and you knew what was happening because you've seen the original so many times? It wasn't beat for beat the exact same movie, but you watched enough of it where you're like, all right, well, this is going to happen. Well, that's going to happen. Like, in a sense, it's a bastardization of the original because, like, Slimer, you basically just made the cartoon Slimer, and yeah, the visual on him looked better than, you know, the way it looked in the 80s. But did you really need that? Did you really need to introduce Slimer again, add a female Slimer, just to
Stay
steal
puff
the car for a weak way to stop the villain? You know, and even a dialogue like, oh, reversal, proton reversal, all that kind of stuff. You're stealing dialogue from the original. So it's like you're relying too heavy on the original movie to make your new movie, where it's just like you could have gone and just passed the torch. A lot of that stuff would have been established already, and then you wouldn't have to be like, yeah, that's just half the movie was already written 30 years ago. I don't know.
I tried to subject it. I really did try to subject it from the original, and I did. When basing it, I'm gonna give it the score.
It's just too hard.
No, it's not even like it's hard. It's just he's right. It does rely too much on the original.
Because there's just so many similar scenes. Like in the beginning,
Like I knew when I saw the tower, I'm like, oh, I can't wait for them to get to the top of the tower and stop the villain.
A lot of the visuals were just straight rip-offs from the original.
Yeah.
Like it just.
Cheap.
It could have been done a lot better. I mean, it wasn't the worst movie I've seen, and it was far from the best movie I've seen. Like, it exists, and you
Right.
can only hope that moving forward, if they build the actual franchise from this, as they say they want to, whether it be a male version or a sequel or anything like that, you can only hope.
I
that
heard
they
they're
get-
doing like a spin-off film, how like each one has its own like universe, and they're gonna like mash up at the end. I'm like, really?
All you can hope is that they take what's already there and just improve on it, because like we have it, we have to accept it. It's there. It's not the worst movie. It's not as bad as everybody thought it was going to be, but it's still not a great movie.
And see it this way: if you don't like it, you still have your two classic films. Well, one
1.5.
1.5. Okay, I was gonna say I'll find out if two's good, but unlike I'm gonna review Ghostbusters 2, but I'm gonna give this a 1.5 out of 4. What about you?
I'm just going to go with 2.
2.
I mean, it's not the best. It's not the worst. To me, it sits down the middle.
I just thought it was cheap. Before we go around, because I mean, I'll like here and there I will, but
all right. Well, start it off. I'm just gonna give it a 1. because I do like I like all the woman characters or the actresses. I mean, because they're really funny on like SNL and their own movies or whatever.
Which one do you think was the showstopper though? Like, which one do you think?
Showstopper?
Yeah.
Of the four,
I don't know.
four, yeah.
I like Leslie Jones.
Really?
Leslie Jones was great. I would put McKinnon, Jones, and then.
So you're
probably
Team
Kristen-
McKinnon also, right? Yeah.
Probably Kristen Wiig over McCarthy because I can't stand the way she talks.
McCarthy?
Yeah, and she talks like that in everything she does. So it's
Right.
just like.
I mean, that's
it's
her
great.
voice, though, I think. But yeah, I don't know. McKinnon was hit or miss for me. She was hit or miss for me. I don't like that over the top stuff.
Okay, it's your turn. It's okay.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go with Leslie Jones. Yeah, but I do like all of them. But I just feel like the script didn't do it justice. I felt like all the jokes that were supposed to be funny were like just really shallow. Like try to get a cheap laugh here and there. I guess it was cool to see the ghost, but I mean the CGI or like whatever they used was just OD. I guess I don't know. It felt cheap, like you said. It felt cheap.
Apparently, when they were screening the trailer, they had a bunch of Ghostbusters fans, and they said that it's a mixture of practical and CG. But I honestly think that there was only like maybe 10%, if not less, of practical. The only practical shot in there was the first ghost in the beginning. Beside that, everything else
That ghost
seemed like it. Yeah, that was practical. But beside that, everything else was CG. It seemed like.
And the what's it called? The prisoner ghost in the train.
That might
looked
have been
good too.
practical.
But
I wonder if the subway ghost is supposed to be a reference to the ghost from the second movie.
I think so
Oh, might be.
The Scoleri brothers.
because it kind of.
I was
I
gonna.
mean, most of the ghosts in there had that blue color to them, but the Scaleris are both blue ghost, electric chair, prison outfits, or that kind of thing. So
Right.
I was
think
waiting
that was
for
a
the
callback.
slime to be pink, like in Ghostbusters 2.
Oh, were you?
Yeah, the tub. All right,
And
go on.
back to the cameos. I just like you guys were saying. I felt like the cameos were forced in and just shoved in the movie real quick. Especially with Slimer. Actually, I wasn't really expecting to see Slimer in it, and I don't know. It's just this movie kind of disappointed me. So yeah, one out of 4. You wanna?
I'll go.
Oh, you just talking to us.
I know. Calm down. I agree with you. I was a slight disappointment in the movie. I will give it a 2. I am Team McKinnon. I mean,
Thank you.
I'll give her that much. It was, decent to see that kind of female character. I don't like Melissa McCarthy whatsoever. Cameos, yeah, they all seemed forced, rushed. It was like they didn't want to be there, or they were just here. Give me my paycheck and I'll do it and then go home. I mean, you guys all left out one cameo, and that's Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. But balloon form or not, it was pretty cool to see him. Slimer, agreed with the animated version of him. I don't know. I'm more along the lines of original. This one just to me doesn't.
until later. I mean, you can sample the original
And
song
this is
and throw it
the.
in there.
I mean, technically, Ghostbusters should really be 2 British guys and a gorilla, but
That's the real Ghostbusters.
yeah, exactly. All right, so Cadillac or Rashawn, which one's yelling?
I'll go.
You guys pretty much said all the main points. I do agree that the CG was practical and most of it was CG. The first 2 ghosts were more practical than the rest of them were. Honestly, and I think you can agree with me, Chris Hemsworth's character, Kevin.
Oh
It was like pulling teeth. Like I keep thinking in my head, this is the God of Thunder, and this guy can't even operate a
I
phone.
forgot about Kevin. Yeah, I mean, like I didn't forget about him.
You just gotta remember the comedy is just.
It was just like they were trying to hand it out to you. It was like really forced. It was like sloppy comedy. The poor man's comedy.
So you
whatever
are
they
getting
call it.
sloppy seconds, truly.
Pretty much, yeah. With Kevin, you are. And then that one chick, I can't think of her name right now. She was like a lawsuit waiting to happen.
Oh,
now.
Kristen Wiig's character? Yeah.
A lawsuit waiting to happen.
Is that a real problem, though? Think about it.
From Kevin's point of view,
Chris Hemsworth. She's like 40 in real life. Or
I
something.
think he's like mid-30s.
Yeah, it's all right. Over 18.
And that says a lot about Jared.
Overall, I'll be generous and give it a 2.5.
You're a bold man.
I really want to say,
Cadillac.
you know what? I'll give it a 3. I'll just give it a 3.
Well, I gotta hear this. Why?
Honestly, it was
There you go.
that big scene at the end when they were fighting all the ghosts in the town square. That was probably my favorite scene of the whole movie.
It's where you wish the original Ghostbusters.
Yeah,
But it was
pretty
such a
much.
rushed ending, though. Like, there
was-
was nothing to
Yeah.
that. Why was the sense of the main villain beating up villains and not going after them? It's
No.
like he gave up after like 2 minutes and like, I'm Godzilla, smash the building.
The biggest thing that pissed me off was the fact that they stopped the ghost by the villain by literally hitting him in the balls. I'm like, really? And
Well, that's Paul Feig's humor, though. Like,
exactly, but I'm like, do we really need this? And then, yeah, you're right. It's anticlimactic. I've seen it before, and why does every movie in New York has to be? It doesn't matter what it is. A portal in the city, where something goes through
Above the tallest building.
the tallest building, and we have to reverse it to get it back. Ninja Turtles, Avengers, Amazing Spider-Man.
Dang, you're right.
The list goes on. Like every movie
I'll
that's
give
come out
it
in
a
the
2.
past.
I'll give it a 2.5 out of
Jedi Mind Trick.
4. I think that's everything.
All right. I'm gonna give it a 3.
Yeah,
I did not hate the movie. Movie's enjoyable. If you take out the original, it's fine on its own.
You can't though, because
Yes, you have to. You have to. You have to. You have to. You have to make it an own individual film itself.
But no, see, I agree with you because, like, even if you take out the original, and like, I understand your point.
Right.
Almost everything now is based off of something anyway. So, like,
Yeah.
it could just be a simple story rather than a movie that they're basing it off of following the beats for. That's
It
the
was
problem with
cool
most
in the
movies is
beginning.
because they're only so original. That's why comic book movies are such a big thing because they're actually original stories that have been around for years and years and years. Where it's just like, well, let's just take this stuff now and make movies of it because nobody's making original movies anymore. I remember what was it? Last year, San Andreas was like the biggest original movie of the year. And it's like that's your biggest original movie, and I think Gravity before that. Like there aren't original movies anymore. It really isn't. Like everything is based off of either a comic, a book, a TV series,
Or
something,
remakes
or remakes.
like this.
Unfortunately,
Yeah, so take it out from the original. You have your own individual film. The movie is funny. You have great 4 comedians. I like Melissa McCarthy, even for her voice. It's just her voice. But she's funny.
That is her voice, though.
Yeah, I know, like she's had that voice ever since you've seen her on TV on Gilmore Girls.
I kind of want to do an impression of her voice, but I feel like I'm just gonna
you're just gonna
Out of
offend
trade.
all of us and yourself.
Uh-huh.
it's gonna go down.
It'd be hilarious for the podcast though.
Oh, God, no.
There's a soundbite, people. You have it now. But it's hilarious. I like the movie. It's funny. McKinnon's hilarious. Hemsworth is hilarious as like he's the dumb blonde in this. He's basically a secretary from the other movies. That's all he is.
Cameo was good though.
Yeah.
Annie Potts was a little more believable. She didn't seem as forced, but to hear her have that same tone as she had in the original, we're like, "What do you want?" Like, yes.
Yeah, like that. I think you know what I forgot to mention her. Yeah, she was probably the best cameo beside Ernie Hudson's. Beside
Harold
that,
Ramis.
yeah, and Harold Ramis's bust. But beside, yeah, that's. I forgot about her. I was like, oh yeah.
I kind of saw where everything was gonna go. Like you could have saw where everything was gonna go when you saw the first trailer. Truthfully, you saw it was gonna be that it was gonna be a portal, stuff like that. You see from the trailers and everything, it's like okay, it just you wanted to enjoy the journey of how they got there, where they got there, and how they went from the original place to Chinese restaurant above it, which was fine. Like okay, at least you're not gonna be there, but you'll eventually get to there. Kristen Wiig's character I liked her straight person's at the beginning and everything. Like, oh, this stuff happened when you were younger. You decided to be someone who actually had a apparition come to you as a
Wanted
child.
to see a flashback of that.
Yeah, because it was kind of an interesting story. Like, okay, so you're an 8-year-old child and you have a apparition come to your bedroom at the foot of your bed every night for a year. Make anyone crazy.
Well, it would have been okay, but there was one big plot hole that I didn't get that they mentioned in the beginning, and it made no sense when she was doing the flashback. So it's established that, since this is a reboot universe, ghosts are not, they're not seen. So it's established that the villain Ronan in the movie has these devices so that he's able to pull Ghost in. So prior to this point, he literally said this is the only way of how you're able to see Ghost. So how was she able to see it as a kid then? It just miraculously appeared?
They mentioned that it only enhances the chances.
It enhances it? Okay, because I was literally sitting there, I was like, so where was he when she was 8 years old? I don't know.
Devices just increase the ionization is what they said.
So it just increases how you're able
When
to
the
see,
dragon got into the concert, it became more corporal.
so that it's able to.
And more corporeal. But yeah, I like that. I did want to learn more about McKinnon's character. Kind of like, okay, well, you got all this technology, and now you saw that she has a mentor and everything else like that. How crazy is her mentor to her?
Depending on how much the paycheck is for Ghostbusters 2, if it happens, we'll find out if Sigourney Weaver comes back.
It's probably going to happen. But most likely it'll happen. And I enjoy that this movie is finally coming back. Like, I wanted a sequel. I wanted something else of Ghostbusters, spin-off, something else like that. Like, you had the cartoon series. You had 1 and 2, but I wanted more. And we really never got that. And now we actually get a chance to actually have it, like, with all these movies, these universes that they're going to have now. Like, we get to enjoy Ghostbusters more. Okay, Keels with his shaking of head, like, right now. That's on you,
like the-
but you might end up enjoying the
updated gadgets.
male version of
Updated
Ghostbusters when that
gadgets.
like out.
But if it
Yeah.
does, that's the thing. If it does, because that's always been rumored that they were gonna do a male and a
Yeah,
female
no,
version.
they've said like they're gonna have a female team and a male team and everything else like that. It all depends on how this movie does. Hopefully, this movie actually does well enough because they already greenlit a cartoon series to start over again. So, I want
That's
more
set in the
Ghostbuster
future.
stuff. Yeah.
Cartoon series supposed to be set like way in the future.
Yeah.
It's based on Slimer, who was already sucked in, so I guess. But I don't know. From day one, I've never hated it. You know what I did find funny that we forgot to mention? Every single time that they were on YouTube or they showed a YouTube video and they made a comment, I wonder if that was a throwback to the fan reacting to the trailer. Because every single comment they said was like, oh man, they're rashing up. I don't believe they're saying that. Look at, literally the first joke was like, you can't catch ghost bitches. And I'm just like, that sounds oddly familiar to when the first trailer came out. I'm just like, just throwing that out there.
Yeah, because there's so much shade about having female Ghostbusters.
But no, that's not the problem with the movie.
No, I'm saying that's not the problem with the movie, but that's what the main issue has been for all these months since like the first trailer announced it. Oh, it's gonna be female Ghostbusters. Everyone's like, fuck it. No, can't have it.
Well, did you hear what the original concept for Ghostbusters 3 was? Because not the video game, but it was around like 2008, 2009 when they said like, yeah, on CNN, Dan Aykroyd was like, yeah, we're working on Ghostbusters 3, it's officially happening. The original plot was going to be, again, passing of the torch, but like Ben Stiller's name was in there, Emma Stone's name was in there,
Yeah, I
Jonah Hill
remember
was
that.
in there, and they were going to train this new generation of Ghostbusters, and and I would have been okay with that.
But remember, for the longest time, the holdup was always supposed to be Bill Murray.
That's why.
Supposedly.
But he even at one point had his own like dream
Draft.
cast for
Yeah.
a female Ghostbusters.
No, it's even
So
without
I mean,
the
the rumor mill can go on forever and forever and forever. But until like we actually see solid proof that it was in the works and it wasn't just them talking, like we'll never know. Because like
I think that'd
sure,
be
I
a
would
better
love-
movie than this
I-
movie. How Ghostbusters 3 never came to be.
Well, I can't deal with Ben Stiller anymore after Zoolander 2, so... Yeah. Yeah, you wanted Ben Stiller in this? Hell no. But, I'm gonna stick by my score. It's gonna be a 3 for me. I enjoyed the movie. It's a good thing for now. You have the females. It's women empowerment, everything else like that. It's good for girls growing up now. Like, oh, instead of a male Ghostbuster, you have female Ghostbuster in Halloween and stuff like that. You get the female demographic also.
Right.
Yeah, so I was like, it's a good thing.
But it's a bad movie.
It's a good movie.
It's a bad movie.
It's a good movie.
If you're not like a retro fan,
Exactly. Like you come in here
it's a
blank,
good- yeah,
you'll
it's a
probably
good
you'll
movie.
definitely enjoy the movie.
It was cool in the beginning.
What do you have
I ain't
to
gonna
say?
lie.
You should just do spoilers,
I mean,
you know?
the humor is just
Did anybody have a favorite scene? Like,
The Stay Puft kind.
yeah, I was about to say, like, I like the credits because I mean they were funny and the movie was over. I was like, all right.
You always say that.
I
You're
did
so-
like the nods to the original because, like, as no matter which way you pan this movie, whether you love it or you hate it, they still gave not like a nod to the original movie. I mean, Harold Ramis' son was in it. Harold Ramis was a bust in it because he can't physically be in the movie. The guy in the background of the TV broadcast, like looking around just like in the original movie. There were so many nods to the original movie that, like, I don't care if it was the worst movie or the best movie. It was nice that they actually acknowledged that in that way, where like they put a lot into it that they didn't have to do. You could do one cameo and be like, haha, remember the original movie? So be it. But they put so much peppered in there throughout the movie that it was just like, okay, like, I get it. You want to be faithful to the friends or the fans, and it's not entirely fan service either, which is like, it's good. Like, I mean, you could do a whole entire movie and just make it like blatantly obvious that you're like, hey, let's put that in there, let's reference this, but to actually, like, lawsuit or not, have original actors in there as cameos that, like, fans of the original, you see it, you're sitting there and you see Dan Aykroyd pull up in a cab and you're just like, Ray! Like, you're just like, you're excited because you're familiar with it as an older fan. So, like, all of those things was nice to see. And I thought about it before the credits even showed it, but for them to put for Harold Ramis was a nice touch. Because, like, you can give him all the credit you want for everything he's written in the past and everything like that. Don't ever forget year one. So, I mean, Harold Ramis probably...
He worked on year one.
I thought he wrote that, actually.
Oh,
Either he wrote it or directed it, but
Damn.
you got to remember
He
this.
did
like,
that?
I believe so.
Man, way to go
Check
out.
it out or whatever, but the point is that, like,
Yeah, I'm sorry.
his humor was essentially this kind of humor for his time. I mean, he was into toilet humor just as much as this movie was. It's just his fit that era, and it wasn't as bad as some of this stuff was. So for them to actually make it a point that no matter good or bad, for Harold Ramis was in the end credits, like, that was a nice touch. Like, I don't care how awful the movie is. Like, Harold Ramis, you wouldn't have Ghostbusters without him. Him, Aykroyd, like, those two were the most important parts of bringing that even together. They wrote it together.
Anybody else have like a favorite scene or?
I'd say Kevin's interview. That was hilarious.
it was funny when they said, "Don't act like the mayor from Jaws."
Oh yeah, that was a good touch.
I guess I'd have to say seeing the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. I just thought of the just him coming around the building. I was like, and they killed him. I was like, fuck.
They shanked him.
Shanked him with a damn.
You know what? I think it was a video that you were sharing. The unused intro for the real Ghostbusters, the really long one. It reminded me just of that with all the balloons coming out, and I was just like, that's kind of badass. I like it. Again, like, I like the Ghostbuster-esque thing. Like, keep in mind, I'm not like you. I don't like like Ghostbusters to me. I enjoy it, and it's a good movie, but I was never really like, oh my gosh, it's like the best movie. Like, it was a really good movie, and I enjoyed it. When I saw it, like, I was young, and then I saw it again when I was older, and
How much younger are you than me? How old are you?
23.
23? Yeah, I'm 10 years older than you.
I know, so you grew
like,
up with it.
I wasn't even 2 yet when the original movie came out. And
Yeah.
I remember as a kid, like, reciting the entire commercial for the second movie to my parents, saying, like, I have to see this movie. I remember going to Kitty City, which is now the Save-A-Lot by us, to get a Proton Pack as a kid. You know, I had all the Ghostbuster cartoon toys. I had a Proton Pack, Ghost Trap. I had everything because for my age, like, that was one of the greatest things. Ninja Turtles,
was gonna say
Ghostbusters,
Ninja
like,
Turtles.
those were, like, the staples of that time frame. And, I mean, they cashed in big time for that. Like, I didn't have that same effect drinking Ecto Cooler again But I remember every day of school having a ecto cooler in my lunch bag because of my mom. Like they marketed it so well as we were kids that like you can't not love it for what it was. Like
That's
it's
kind
just
of deep.
it's.
Yo,
Don't get me started. Like
that's making me like, oh man, I miss my childhood now.
This is one of the two.
That's
Actually,
his Spider-Man.
this is one of the 3 sacred grounds for me as far as properties go. Back to the Future, which long live Robert Zemeckis, so they'll never touch it because he won't allow it for them to do a remake. No, it will never need a remake. It just wouldn't work. Ghostbusters, again, sacred property, but it could have been worse. Could have been better. It is what it is. We just have to accept it,
What's
deal
the
with
third
it.
one?
Third one actually is Speed Racer.
Oh, come on.
And the movie was actually good. If you were a fan enough of the Speed Racer cartoon, that movie was very faithful.
Thank you. Thank you.
Anybody I know that appreciated Speed Racer, like not the second version of Speed Racer that I think what was it, but the newer looking Mach 5 and everything like that. But anyone that I've ever known that loved the original Speed Racer loved the movie. Absolutely loved the movie.
But that's like an untouched. I think there's one you're missing in there.
Depends.
It's not Spider-Man, so stop.
No, it's not Spider-Man. There's one you're missing in there. One that can never be remade.
Well, I'm talking for myself.
Oh my gosh, no, not Boys in the Hood. Come on.
But they
Oh,
might.
we're talking about Masters of the Universe, right?
Oh.
E-Man?
Oh, with the dude who did Hercules, that horrible movie that came out in a jet.
No. Something from a galaxy far, far away. You're wearing the shirt.
Dude, we got a spin-off coming in December, and the sequel coming next year.
But it's not a remake.
Doesn't matter. We'll have Star Wars forever.
Exactly.
At this point, yes, you will.
What's Star Wars? Thanks to Disney.
All right, but
So, what is the third one, or the fourth one you're saying? I'm forgetting.
it's just Star Wars.
I wasn't paying attention. I'm playing baseball in here. All right.
At least it's not Pokemon Go.
I'm playing Pokemon Go.
Jeez. All right, so the overall score for we're over
Where's the
time.
weirdest place you found a diggle?
So the overall score for the Guys Night Crew is a 2 out of 4. Yes. And that concludes. So we're going to probably be one of the rare reviews out there because not a lot of people are touching this film. So shout out to Horror, Sci-Fi, and More. Subscribe to them as well. Subscribe to us first, though.
It's all right.
Be sure to like us on our Twitter page, Facebook page. Subscribe to us, Automatic. We also have a trailer coming out within the next week on a video that we'll be releasing on August 8th. Just leaving that little tidbit out there. But July 25th, we will be seeing The Killing Joke. So look out for our podcast of that. So until next time, this has been Jared Avery.
Cadillac. Rashawn.
Harold Ramis' Ghost.
That's Keels.
And Bucky.
And remember, we do what we do for the sake of the podcast. Until next time, we're out. Ghostbusters.